QTV News coming to you live from our studios on Caraba Avenue, and I am Jenna Bosonko. Thanks for joining us here at the main news headlines. The Consumer Protection Tribunal Tuesday dismissed 2 cases filed by the Consumer Protection Consortium against 5 supermarkets accused of selling expired products. Following disruption to ferry services at the Barra ferry landing site caused by a bus that got stuck halfway at the ferry landing site, the public relations manager of the Gambia Ferry Services says the incident is being investigated. The Gambia Import and Export Promotion Agency, GIPA, in collaboration with the U.S. State of Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, organizes a 2-day forum on investment opportunities in the Gambia. The National Human Rights Commission on Tuesday organized a sensitization forum on the TRRC white paper for 40 participants from local authorities and civil society organizations. In international news, a malaria vaccine developed by the University of Oxford has been approved by the World Health Organization for production and distribution. Now, those were the main headlines. Now the news in detail. Do stay with us. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're just joining us, you're watching QTV News, and I am Jenna Bosonko. Now, Magistrate Dauda Fati of the Consumer Protection Tribunal Tuesday dismissed 2 cases filed by the Consumer Protection Consortium against 5 supermarkets accused of selling expired products. Jul Denjai attended the tribunal, and this report is narrated by Ansumana Isonyasi.
The Consumer Protection Tribunal, which sits at the Future Lake building in Bijilo, is a quasi-judicial body provided for under the Consumer Protection Act, which has the power to hear and adjudicate on matters prohibited by the Act. Alaji Sambu is the Director of Legal and Enforcement at the Gambia Competition and Consumer Protection Commission.
This is a complaint that has been brought in by the CPC, that is the Consumer Protection Consortium. It's a consumer association group, and looking at the Consumer Protection Act, they have been mandated to file a complaint to the Consumer Tribunal. So this complaint was brought in by them, and the Commission initiated an investigation against the supermarkets and established that supermarkets were found in selling expired products in their shops or stores. So these were seized and the seizure memos were issued, and the Commission assisted in preparing the files to the tribunal, and the Consumer Protection Consortium chairperson represented them in the tribunal, but unfortunately there is a ruling today to say that the Consumer Protection Consortium does not have any locus or legal standing for them to act in this particular case because there is no evidence of them suffering.
Mr. Sambu further stated that although they respected the Consumer Protection Tribunal's verdict, they will not relent in their determination to protect consumers.
Because looking at Section 6 of the Consumer Protection Act, it is saying that consumers are entitled to safe, good quality products. So if a business or supermarket is found there selling expired products or products that are not labeled, is contrary to Section 6 of the Consumer Protection Act. So it's a challenge. We are telling the public and consumers to be very vigilant over there. If you find any product on the market or you buy any product that you believe or you saw that it is expired, we're telling you that you should come to the Commission and complain, and this case will be forwarded to the Consumer Protection Tribunal for determination.
Mr. Sambu went on to mention some of the supermarkets allegedly selling expired products.
We have Alvia supermarket was present today. They were found, according to the evidence that we have, that they were found selling expired products. Bella supermarket was there, Hash supermarket was there, CP was there. It's more than 10 supermarkets that were found selling expired products.
Alpha Usman Jallo, president of the Consumer Protection Consortium, says they will explore all options as far as this case is concerned.
This is a technicality that we will work together with the Competition and Consumer Protection Commission to see how we can bring back this case again on who has the locus standing. So there must be an avenue and a body that can be able to prosecute and not wait until when consumers are affected or consumers purchase food products and eat it and die before they can be represented or prosecuted. So therefore there is a vacuum somewhere, a loophole, and we will make sure that we stand to ensure that these business people don't take advantage of this and go scot-free.
In another case brought by Consumer Protection Consortium against Gassam Company Limited, for allegedly selling underweight bags of cement. The tribunal also dismissed the case. According to the Food Safety and Quality Authority, a total of 17 businesses were closed last year for failing to meet safety standards, while 104 expired food products were confiscated. Ansmane Sonyase for KTV News.
Following an incident last week at the Barra Ferry landing site that caused disruption to ferry services for at least 6 hours after a bus got stuck halfway at the ferry landing site, the public relations manager of the Gambia Ferry Services reveals that the incident is being investigated. QTV's Modu Lamin Choi looks at the development and operational matters at this major crossing point.
This was the scene at the Barra Ferry terminal. A 55-seater bus is stuck halfway at the ferry landing site, partly covering where the ferries dock. The incident happened on Friday morning, 29th of September. It is reported that the bus had faulty brakes, went out of control and plunged into the waters during a push to restart the engine. Omar Bur Toure is the public relations manager at the GPA Ferries department.
Actually, what happened is the actual event that has happened until it's plunged into at the ramp, that is what we have captured. But majority of the management, we are trying to investigate what has happened until the bus get into the ferry terminal.
River transport is a popular means of transportation for many people who regularly commute various crossing points across the country. What this means is that incidents like this one could disrupt public transportation and cause loss of revenues. This incident happened just a day after the Gamo, when public demand for the ferries are usually high. This footage shows passengers stranded in a ferry, while local canoes became the option for them to disembark.
I think at this present moment, we are calculating the affecting of the public. These 6 hours, it affected the human resource very, very seriously. Because at that time, people were coming from the Gamo, and many of them are with their kids and, old people, because they went for prayers. So those are the concepts now we are taking and concentrating on how to apologize.
Over the years, there has been increasing demand for the transportation of people, goods and services, putting pressure on the fleet of ferries at the Banjul-Barra crossing points. Sometimes, this has reportedly stretched the capacity of the ferries beyond limit, thereby causing some operational problems.
We have a tender already. We have already requesting those who are interested of building a new ferry. The tender is already out and is closing by the 27th or 28th of this month. And this was the information I got from my GM, that 3 companies have already got their bids. They have bought the bidding documents, and maybe in early 2024 we will try to have a new ferry. It's not easy, but the money is already there.
More than 2 years ago, at least $50 million was spent to rehabilitate the Banjul-Barra ferry landers to facilitate smooth landing of the ferries. However, it appears the rehabilitation work failed to solve the problem.
Still, we used to have these small pickups or vans to come and stabilize the ram so that it can get down. Because they bought new cables, new everything, but the blasting tanks also were repaired and well. That is the only problem. But apart from that, the rams are definitely good. With the new GM, now we are trying to focus on that. Because the ram, let me tell you one thing. I told them, if you have about 10 new ferries without ram, you have no ferry.
The Banjul-Barra ferry crossing points are the most popular river transport routes, with thousands using the ferries daily. The public, especially those who use the ferries regularly, have long been demanding for quality services. Mohamed Lamin Choi, QTV News.
Now, as part of its mandate to promote and facilitate investment, the Gambia Import and Export Promotion Agency partnered with the U.S. State of Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation to organize a 2-day forum on investment opportunities in the Gambia. Aliou Cisse has the rest of that story.
Members of the Gambian business community and policymakers are joined by a delegation from the state of Wisconsin, United States of America, for this first edition of a 2-day outreach forum organized by the Gambia Import and Export Promotion Agency, GIPA, and the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation held in the Gambia. Leading the delegation from the United States is Samba Bande, Wisconsin Democratic State Representative. The forum takes a look at investment opportunities in key sectors of the Gambian economy, including food and beverage, manufacturing, clean energy, water technology, and other service sectors. Usaini Senghor, Chief Executive Officer of GAIPA, and his counterpart, Melissa Hawes, CEO of Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, welcomed the forum as historic and the beginning to a stronger partnership for socio-economic development.
As part of its mandate to promoting and facilitating investment, export, business enterprise development, and advocating for an improved business environment has evidently once again manifested its purpose. What remains is for the Gambian businesses to explore the vast opportunity to network and get the best out of this forum by networking and following up.
We want to learn from you. We want to learn about your businesses and about your industries and the opportunities for partnerships. As we see these opportunities, they're both for the chance to help you come to the United States market, but also to think about how our Wisconsin businesses might be able to partner with you.
Samba Bande, Gambian-born Wisconsin Democratic State Representative who immigrated to the U.S. 25 years ago, said this forum is part of efforts to strengthen bilateral cooperation between the state of Wisconsin and other countries.
It is heartbreaking always to read the news and see many young Africans, not only Gambians, trying to make it abroad, dying along the way. Hopefully what will come out of this are business relationships that would help stop these young people from exploring what we call the back way.
Deputizing for the U.S. Ambassador to the Gambia, Sarah El Kuruma, Rebecca A. Taylor, the new political and economic chief, U.S. Embassy Banjul office, said the goals of the forum reflects the embassy's values in the Gambia to build a strong democracy, advancing inclusive and equitable broad-based economic growth and investment in people-centered development.
In remarks at the African Growth and Opportunity Act, AGOA, ministerial meeting in December, U.S. Trade Representative Catherine Tai stated, "Africa has the world's youngest population and its greatest resource is its people. The future is Africa, and engaging with this continent is the key to prosperity for all of us." I admire and applaud Wisconsin's vision in recognizing this and working to work in Africa.
Deputizing for Trade Minister Babukar Ojuf, Lamin Damfa, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Trade, believes there's a lot to benefit from this partnership and urge the business community to take advantage of the opportunity and enabling environment created to make an impact in the country.
What we can do is to create the enabling environment, and the rest is for you to take advantage of, to ensure that we can change life in this country. The transformation of this country, as he said, lies squarely, with us.
It is hoped that the outcome of the forum will be translated from commitment to action to actualize the desired goals to promote and facilitate investment in the Gambia. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cissé.
Looking forward to the opportunities that forum will bring. Now we'll go for a short commercial break, and when we return we have some more local, international as well as sports news. Don't go anywhere.
waaw du gis ngeen daw si ba mu amee sikki sàkkane armante mi dañoo wecci ay cafkaam ba ñu ko ubbilee siwo bi ba xet gi dugg ko cam billahi la mu yëg bari na armante ñaar fukki at ak nangam ba mu ne cëpp ci réew mi ba tey mësula wecci doxalin mësula wecci cafka
bu leen ci am benn ñaari xel man mii di jaay lépp luy produit gi armante rek am naa ko am na 500 millilitres 1000 millilitres ak 5 kilos ba noppi nag am 750 ml bi nga xam ne mi ngi toj réew mi gis nga armante Eva Protect Milk bi mooy mos dolli te armante spaghetti bii ngay gis moo dàq ci spaghetti yi
gis nga armante bottom margarine bi noonu la gënee ci yow mi nga xamante ne yaa ngi jaay tàngana ci Johnson bi kombe fi armante la dugal sa waa ñoddi sa kombe bi gis ngeen lii sardañ la da nga gis boobu jën bi dafa neex gis nga meew ko ndig mil bi armante ko fi indi moom mi dafa sakkan xoolal xale bi nu muy naanee banana milk bi gis ngeen flamingo oil bi dem leen ci bépp boutique bépp supermarket ci bépp marché
armante ki prodogam kenn mënu koo ceeñ
armante boppam ndax moo di good quality food.
As the fastest growing GSM company in the Gambia, QCell has the widest 4G plus coverage in the country, 3 times faster internet speed than our competitors. So switch now and dial *335# and enjoy what true 4G feels like. QCell, Gambia's trusted network.
Welcome back from that short commercial break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV News, and I am Jenna Bosonko. Now, the National Human Rights Commission, on Wednesday organized a sensitization forum on the TRRC white paper for 40 participants from local authorities and civil society organizations. Now, it is part of the Commission's efforts at nationwide popularization of the government's TRRC white paper. Mamadou Lamin Choi tells us more.
The Truth, Reconciliation and Reparations Commission, in its final report, tasked the Human Rights Commission with monitoring the implementation of the TRRC recommendations. This was approved in the government's white paper. The Commission's sensitization campaign aims to help Gambians understand the content of the TRRC's report and the government's white paper on the recommendations. Banjul and Kem are the last regions to take part in the initiative. Aminata LBCC talks to journalists about the significance of the popularization campaign.
The aim is to ensure, when they are sensitized about the government white paper, that will enable them to also go back to their wards and also in their communities to talk to them about the content of the government white paper. So we also talk about some of the key issues that are also highlighted in the TRRC report, as issues like attack on the media, attack on political parties. We also have issues of sexual and gender-based violence. These are very important themes that we believe when we talk to these participants about, when they go back to their communities, they will also help sensitize them for them to better understand the content of the TRRC report, and also the government white paper.
The awareness campaign is considered as one of the most effective approaches to reaching out to the grassroots to get them to participate in Gambia's transitional justice process. Adam Afai, an admin officer at the Banjul City Council, is taking part in this event.
The Banjul City Council can play a very vital role, especially when it comes to the ward development committees. I think our councillors can do their best in, conveying this message to the ward development committees, who can also help in conveying the message to the masses so that they will at least understand what this training was all about and get themselves popularized with the reports or the recommendations of the TRRC.
More than a year ago, the Gambia government issued a white paper which approved more than 90% of the TRRC's recommendations. Since then, the ministry has been putting in place measures to implement its white paper to deliver justice and reparations for victims of human rights violations during the previous regime. Safia Tunyang is a state counsel at the Attorney General's Chambers and Ministry of Justice.
In terms of reparations, we have already drafted a legislation that will take care of victims' reparations. It's going to set up a commission that will take up the reparations aspect of the TRRC recommendations. And in terms of justice and accountability, the ministry is currently working hard towards ensuring that we have all the legal framework that will set the ball rolling, because when you want to embark on a process, you need to make sure that you have the legislative framework and the right foundation towards which you would build upon and gain success in it.
The National Human Rights Commission's monitoring of the implementation of the TRRC recommendations makes room for challenges to be addressed as they emerged during the implementation process. Additionally, the awareness campaign will encourage citizens to participate in the Gambia's journey towards reconciliation, justice and reparations. Mamadou Lamin Choi, QTV News.
From that story by Mamadou Lamin Choi on the engagements of the National Human Rights Commission, now let's take a look at news beyond our borders. A second vaccine for malaria developed by the University of Oxford has been approved by the World Health Organization for production and distribution. Now, report shows that 100 million doses will be produced yearly. More in this report. It has taken more than a century for scientific research to develop effective vaccines against malaria. The second vaccine is similar to the first one and the target stage of the malaria parasite's life cycle. However, it is easier to manufacture as it requires a smaller dose, an ingredient used in some vaccines that helps create a stronger immune response. In 2021, there were 247 million cases of malaria and 619,000 people died, most of them children under the age of 5. More than 90% of malaria is found in Africa. Over the 2 peak years of the COVID-19 pandemic, 2020 to 2021, COVID-related disruptions led to about 13 million more malaria cases and 63,000 more malaria deaths. The WHO African region continues to carry a disproportionately high share of the global malaria burden. In 2021, the region was home to about 95% of all malaria cases and 96% of its deaths. Children under 5 of age accounted for about 80% of all malaria deaths in the region. In 2021, 35 countries reported fewer than 1,000 indigenous cases of the disease, up to from 33 countries in 2020 and just 13 countries in 2000. Countries that have achieved at least 3 consecutive years of zero indigenous cases of malaria are eligible to apply to be certified malaria-free by WHO. Although the Gambia has not achieved universal coverage yet, the Gambia is one of the 6 countries in the World Health Organization African region that have achieved the 2020 milestones of reducing malaria cases and deaths by 40%. The Malaria Indicator Survey of 2017 showed that usage of insecticide-treated nets in children and women was 62% and 69% respectively. Additionally, 40% of women receive their doses of intermittent preventive therapy to prevent malaria during pregnancy. The theme for this year's World Malaria Day is Time to Deliver Zero Malaria. Innovate, implement. It renews the need for more partnerships and investment to end the deadly mosquito-borne disease that kills a child every minute, according to experts. When added to currently recommended malaria control tools, the malaria vaccine can reduce episodes of malaria in children by 40% and reduce life-threatening severe malaria by around 30%. Reporting for QTV News, I am Jenna Bosonko. Great news there. Now let's take a look at what is happening in the world of sports. Gambia's young international Yankuba Minteh continues his brilliant run of form after scoring for Feyenoord in their 3-1 win against Go Ahead Eagles in the Dutch Eredivisie over the weekend. Momodu Gajiga has more.
This is his 3rd goal in the last 4 league games, scored in first half stoppage time. He received the ball just inside the box before dancing around a handful of defenders and showing great patience to find the perfect time to finish. It was the first of 3 goals, and the win now put Feyenoord 3rd in the Dutch league table. He was withdrawn within 7 minutes remaining. Ahead of their clash against Atletico Madrid in the UEFA Champions League on Wednesday, this is what Arne Slot, Feyenoord Rotterdam's coach, says about Yankuba Minteh. He certainly doesn't lack self-confidence. His willingness to give everything is enormous. When we see his statistics, it is really impressive. Minteh ran more sprint meters against Ajax in an hour than many players in 2 games. He's incredibly fast, and he wants it so badly. Minteh played 60 minutes in Feyenoord's first Champions League game at home to Scottish team Celtic 2 weeks ago. He and his team will be hoping to continue their good form in tonight's Champions League encounter at the Savesta Metropolitano Stadium in Madrid. Yankuba Minteh orchestrated Gambia's comeback against Congo last month, scoring the first goal in their 2-2 draw to seal a place in AFCON 2023. He is currently on loan to Feyenoord from Newcastle, but with such consistent impressive performance, no one will be surprised should Newcastle decide to recall him to St. James's Park. Momodu Gajaga, QTV News.
Now, thumbs up to Gambia's young international Yankuba Minteh. I'm afraid that is all we have time for, but before we leave, let's recap our main headlines. The Consumer Protection Tribunal Tuesday dismissed 2 cases filed by the Consumer Protection Consortium against 5 supermarkets accused of selling expired products. Now, following disruption to ferry services at the Barra ferry landing site caused by a bus that got stuck halfway at the ferry landing site, the public relations manager of the Gambia Ferry Services revealed that the incident is being investigated. The Gambia Import and Export Promotion Agency, GIPA, in collaboration with U.S. State of Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, organizes a two-day forum on investment opportunities in the Gambia. Also, the National Human Rights Commission on Wednesday organized a sensitization forum on the TRRC white paper for 40 participants from local authorities and civil society organizations. And in international news, a malaria vaccine developed by the University of Oxford has been approved by the World Health Organization for production and distribution. Well, that is all we have for you in this edition of QTV News. Join us at 10 p.m. for another bulletin. Don't forget to tune in at 9 p.m. for Youth Dialogue. Thanks for watching.